What's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a really strong team in the Retro Cup. Now this is a team here, this is more of a team for tomorrow as opposed to a team for today. Because what you're actually going to be seeing here is a lot of like Metacham leads, but what I'm predicting to happen in this meta is that there will be a huge shift, and I think people usually revert to type whenever the meta gets a little bit messy. People like to revert to type and go to a team that's very comfortable for them and that maybe they used last season. I think in the final days of this cup, you're going to see an absolute ton of Metacham, Lantern and Noctowl teams, which usually lead Lantern. And with a Quagsire lead against those teams, this is basically one of the best teams you can run against it, and whenever that team was super popular last season, I had a lot of success using this team of Swampert instead. But in today's video, we're going to be using the newly buffed Quagsire, which of course got Mud Bomb in the season update, and does have the coverage with Stone Age, which is a little bit of a nicer thing compared to Swampert. If you do want to run Swampert in this team, it pretty much has to be Shadow. You need to be able to two-shot the Noctowl with Hydro Cannons. Of course you can two-shot them with Stone Age here. So I was using this with Swampert, and I'll be completely honest with you guys, with both of these teams, with Swampert, Shadow, and Quagsire, I went pretty much dead even with these teams. I think at this current point in the meta, this team is not really just hitting the point yet, but I think it will do as the days go on. And as you can see here, the Metacham is just about to take out our Quagsire. We're going to get a nice little farm down with Frostlass, which you always love to see, if the opponent allows us to do so. Frostlass, of course, is just one of my favourite Pokemon in this cup, and in general. And we're starting to see a lot of Orangaroos and things here, and a lot of sort of Confusion users. Confusion is quite a strong move, being something that's not resisted by anything, but as you can see, we can take this match. The opponent realises that they're not going to be able to probably get enough moves, and that's a good game. I was going to go for the catch there. I think they might have been able to get to the move, so maybe they gave up a little bit too early. We swap into Frostlass here. I know that I can eat a Rock Slide. I'll see if I decide to do so or not here. We just let this one go. Now the opponent has a Zangoose in the front, which is very good against Frostlass, so I know that the opponent's not really incentivized to shield, so I'm not really incentivized to bait here too much. We're just going to look to get rid of this, overfarm a little bit, and look to try and get off a move on the Zangoose, which is very classy. Anyway guys, welcome to the video. Sorry about yesterday's video. I noticed that the intro was cut off, so if you noticed that, sorry about that one. It just sort of cut in halfway. But anyway, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Welcome to the video, and a big thank you for all the support in the recent videos. Hit that like button, subscribe, and feel free to join us in Discord if you want to be part of our community here. But yeah, this is an interesting one. This Pokemon hits like a truck. I think they're baiting me here. They could be going for close combat, which I believe they get to an 8 Shadow Claws, which does about 70% damage to this Noctowl. Zangoose hits it incredibly hard, and the opponent realizes, you know, it's probably a little bit too much to do for Metacham with Noctowl and Quagsire. Quagsire into Frostlass, amazing lead here. Now we'll see how we decide to play this here. You probably should be going for multiple baits, right? Because it takes like 2 Mud Bombs to take them out anyway, with the damage from Mudshot, and the opponent just goes straight for Avalanche. I decided to look up this matchup, and Frostlass can actually take this in the 2 shield, which is kind of nuts. Of course, all of the Powder Snows add up, and Frostlass will win CMP. So I'm going to have to make a play. I thought that I would lose CMP, and I did try to YOLO the Stone Edge. Mud Bombs do about 43% to the Frostlass, so you probably just go straight Mud Bomb like you built up the Stone Edge. I decided to go for the catch. We do catch the Avalanche, which is still going to hurt quite a lot on the Frostlass. In comes the Dunsparce, and it is a good thing that I swapped out here because I don't really have an answer to Dunsparce except for Quagsire. Dunsparce is a very strong Pokemon in this meta, but you're seeing here that these Avalanches really do a ton of damage to it, and with all of the banked energy we have in Quagsire, we should be able to one-shot it with Stone Edge. Now, I'm pretty new to the Shadow Quagsire. This is actually my first time I built this Pokemon today. We CMP them on the Mud Bomb. Now, what I should have been doing here is going for the Stone Edge, because as you can see, that doesn't quite take them out. They live that on 1 HP, which is very unfortunate. The opponent drill runs me and takes me out. I do get an extra wing attack with Noctowl, which is nice, and we win the 0 shield against this Pokemon. However, Avalanche, it's not pleasant for the Noctowl, so I feel like if I was able to take that out, and maybe look to go for a move on that with my Quagsire, or maybe like swap out to Noctowl, I could have potentially Stone Edged the Altaria, but I think that might have been a little bit too much for me to do, and that was just a generally difficult backline for this team. So I'm seeing like a lot of variety and a lot of mixed teams at the moment. So like I said, if you start seeing the Metacham team, or of course the Lantern lead, Metacham Noctowl, this will be a perfect team to counter that. But I think because we're only on the 2nd day of the cup, a lot of people are using random things like Dragontail Haxorus and a lot of Confusion users, so we're just definitely in the very mixed part of this cup. I decided to full send the Shadow Ball. I'm only going to get off one move, boom, that takes him out. Scat Attack probably would have took him out, but I was just making sure that I either, you know, take the shield or take the knockout. In comes Deoxys, we're not going to be able to get a move on it, and in comes Frostlass. The opponent comes in with a Dragonite, and what I like to do here is just go straight for this. I believe that I'm ahead by a turn or so. Boom, that goes through. The opponent doesn't actually shield it. I thought they might do. In comes Deoxys. We're going to look to catch a move on this. Now, the only move that they can throw at this is Psycho Boost. and if they use a Psycho Boost, it's going to basically debuff them, which is not a very good position for them to be in. We're going to fire off Mud Bombs here. I believe Mud Bomb is a lot more energy efficient than Stone Edge, however Stone Edge does more raw damage. I think I will look to go for another Mud Bomb here, and just put this in a farm down range for Frostlass. The opponent may look to shield this, they do not shield it, and at this point we can just farm them down. I think I even just shield this just to force them to dump off multiple moves. They have to go for Psycho Boost here, and if they go for another Psycho Boost, well, it's going to be game over either way. So good games well played to the opponent, and this is probably about the most difficult lead, and this is where I lost most of my matches, to be fair. Deoxys or Medicham leads are exceedingly difficult for this team, because of course Deoxys has a lot of coverage with Rock Slide. Ice Punch can be, you know, quite awkward. Like, I think Deoxys in particular is difficult. I was able to overcome Medicham leads, so maybe once you start seeing more counters for Deoxys in the lead, and this Pokemon kind of goes away a little bit, I think this team will be a lot more powerful as well. But this is generally like a sort of team I struggled with. The opponent does go for a Psycho Boost, so I'm expecting them to probably shield up and dip out. They just let that go and dip out, and in comes Giraffe Rig, and we're seeing just a ton of these Confusion teams. With Dark type Pokemon banned in this cop, you know, these Confusion users are running wild. They've got the normal typing, which resists Ghost, so even though they're Psychic type, they still signal resist Ghost moves, so it means I actually have to throw Avalanche on this Pokemon. Just a little tip for you guys. Any Pokemon that has a Dark type move is extremely, and I mean extremely powerful in this meta, and it's something I only realised towards the end of today, so I would probably have a look in PvPoke, and if you go into the Pokemon search bar and type @Dark, you'll be able to see a list of Pokemon like this one, for example, that has Crunch. These moves are extremely powerful. Things like this, Double are really strong picks for this cop, and as you see, that just one-shots my Frostlass, and it's going to farm down my Quag. So yep, in comes another counter user. Pretty difficult lead for Mudboy. Generally, like, these beat Swampert and, you know, Quagsires. Generally, Mudboys are not good against Medicham. I'm going to look to try and catch on 8, which would be the potential Psychic. So I know this is only going to be an Ice Punch. You don't have to Psychic this. And we know that the opponent's on 2 counters. So they're basically 6 off another Psychic or 4 off another Ice Punch. So we just have to keep that in mind for later. Now, this is a pretty bad matchup, but it's not the end of the world here for me, because I can actually shield up once, because I'm a little bit ahead. The opponents usually never beat the Power Whip, so that's a good thing here. We shield up the Power Whip correctly. We overfarm a little bit, and look to fire off this move. We'll see if the opponent wants to shield it and take switch. They do decide to shield it. Can I get to another move in time? The opponent thinks I will, and they decide to fire off the move. Now, this puts us in a position where we can look to farm down the Lickitung with Noctowl. The reason that Lickitung has not been so popular as of recent seasons is because of Noctowl and its buff. This Pokemon is just basically everywhere, and I think we're going to commit to a huge farm down. We're going to come out with pretty much 100 energy. We can eat 2 Body Slams, absolutely no problem in this thing, and we have a lot of energy for the Medicham. Back in here comes Cresselia. The opponent here, they made an aggro swap. I've got an absolute ton of energy, so this is a pretty unnecessary bait, but we do go for the Sky Attack, and we're going to go for the Shadow Ball now. You're going to see Cresselia is so bulky that not only does less than half of their health. I decided to catch a move because I'm thinking this Pokemon's pretty dead weight at the moment. We've got a Medicham, which is going to counter it down, and Cresselia does pretty well against it. We're going to commit to the Stone Edge, and I think the opponent might be trying to commit to a farm down. But this is going to put us in a position where, look how low this is getting now. We can actually look to farm this Pokemon down. Now, I think a Moonblast, of course, would take me out from this range, and the opponent's only going to get to 1 move on this. They're 4 counters away from the Ice Punch, and I'm going to commit to the Shadow Ball, just to 100% make sure I take them out. Generally, guys, tip for this Pokemon on Noctowl versus Medicham. In the 0 shielding scenario, you need to go for the Shadow Ball, otherwise Medicham will get to 2 Ice Punches. That's something to keep in mind, and I was just making sure to do the most raw damage and take that Pokemon out. Yeah, so the opponent had a low health Pokemon in the back, and they were basically forced to concede. In comes Snorlax. Now, I don't know what it is about this Pokemon, but every time I see it, I assume it's a good lead, and I certainly don't want this Pokemon on Frostlass, so I'm pretty happy to deal with this thing here. We will severely outpace to these moves here, and as you can see, we've got them into 50% health, and we're going to force the knockout or shield here. The opponent will be forced to shield if they want to get off their next move, and I believe they probably will go for Body Slams here. They definitely farmed up to the super power, but what I'm going to do here is actually eat this first one, overfarm by 1, and then look to catch on Frostlass. So very nice catch by me here. Body Slam is resisted, even though these licks are going to add up. This is maybe like a questionable catch, to be fair, because they're getting off another move. I decided to respect the superpower, and it is just another Body Slam. I do want to make sure that I can farm this thing down, and I thought that even if it is a Body Slam, it's going to leave me in a really low health range. Now, the opponent comes in here with what I believe is a Charizard, which is a pretty scary Pokemon to use in this cup. The opponent makes a nice call, calling that it will just be the Avalanche. One Shadow Ball would have came very close to taking it out. I'm going to come in and eat this on Quagsire. This will have to be a Blast Burn if they want to take me out. And Mud Bomb, even though single resisted, still would do a decent amount of damage. We're going to come in with Noctowl. The opponent is Medicham, and you're going to see exactly what I was talking about. We're going to fire off the Shadow Ball straight away. The opponent did not fire off Ice Punch, so I'm thinking they may be on Power Punch and Psychic, which I'm not sure if that's a great moveset for this meta. We don't have any Steel types, and we don't have any Dark types, so I think you just go for the standard moveset of course, Ice Punch and Psychic. Back in comes the Charizard. They dumped off the Blast Burn on the Quagsire, and the Sky Attack will look to take them out. Party Hat Charizard is having a very terrible birthday, and he's basically getting sent to his bedroom without dinner. Quagsire here, coming into Dunsparce. I think this is a decent lead, but we certainly don't want to see it in their back line, so we do stay in there. Medicham coming free. I'm going to look to just go straight for the move. I don't really like beating Medichams. For the difference of one Powder Snow, I feel like it's not really worth beating. I mean, oftentimes they do shield, but that one occasion that they don't shield, and considering they have a Dunsparce as well, I thought the opponent would be happy to let that go. I guess they're looking to take switch advantage because they want to realign their Dunsparce onto something else, potentially my Noctowl. I'm sure they're probably predicting some sort of a flyer, or something that is weak to this, because generally, there are a lot of teams that are weak to Dunsparce currently. So yeah, the opponent's going to fire off a move. I decide to eat up the first one here, and if I can get off the Sky Attack first, I'll get it off. The opponent just get off another Ice Punch. Now, even though they do have a Dunsparce, I want to retain some health on this Noctowl. Back in comes Dunsparce, back in comes this thing, and you know, I've learned my lesson from before. I think we're going to look to go for 2 Stone Edges on this one, just to make sure we can take it out. Let's have a look here. Stone Edge number 1 coming through. How much damage does this do to Dunsparce? Should get it deep into the yellow. Yeah, it just about gets it into the yellow, so I know I'm going to have to go for another one here. The opponent just got off another move, unfortunately, which is pretty annoying. I'm not too sure if I could live this Stroller run, to be perfectly honest with you. This is a new Pokemon that I'm using. I know if it was the Non-Shadow, I could definitely live that, but when you're using a new Pokemon, you're sort of a little bit unfamiliar with what it can survive, what it can live, what moves are going to get you really low. If I knew that, you know, I could survive that, I definitely would have left it. In comes the Frostlass. We win this in the Zero Shield with Noctowl. However, they do have, of course, an energy advantage here, and we're very low in health. But from full health, one Avalanche does not take out. One Shadow Ball, if they've got good IVs, does not quite take out the Frostlass, but they cannot get to another move. We farm it down just in time. The opponent had to try and go for an overfarm, but their health was just a little bit too low in that situation, and we're going to hop into the next one. Dugong, very positive lead here. Haven't seen too many Dugong leads, but we're happy to see this here. Now, it takes them 5 ice moves, I can't remember the name of it, to get to their first one. They always shield up the first one, so arguably, we should go for the bait on this one. It's almost a guarantee, like 99% of the time that I have through a move on Dugong, they shield up the first one, so probably go for the bait on the first one, to be honest with you. And we're going to anticipate the catch and come into our Frostlass. Now, you see, this is not that comfortable. I decided to respect the first move here, in case it's Fire Punch, because people were using Fire Punch in that last cop, and I was sort of anticipating that people would just be using the same moveset. Shadow Ball coming through. This thing is just a bag of tricks, this Hypno, you just never know. We're going to go for the CMP on the second one here, knowing that the opponent will want to get off this move as soon as possible. And we do go for the Shadow Ball, take it out, and in comes the Dugong again. Now, it's a temptation to shield here, but I'm thinking Noctowl and Quagsire up a shield. Quagsire being our main answer to this, we throw in good timing to make sure the opponent can catch. But Quagsire being our main answer to this and having a Noctowl in the back with a shield is never really a bad position to be in. In comes Dragonair. Now, I was trying to bank the move and leave, but unfortunately, Dragon Breath is so oppressive that, yeah, it's just kind of tough. Now, I decided to shield up this one here because I'm thinking that if they get me super low, the opponent may come into a farm down for my shield and go for, like, maybe debuffs and things. And I'm thinking if I go for a Shadow Ball, I should be able to outpace till the move anyway, and the opponent is on super low health. So maybe I should have just no shielded the Body Slam, to be fair. They were super low, just give them no chance to do anything. But I think, like, if you look at my health range now, plus a Body Slam of damage, it would have been getting a little bit close, and I knew that I would probably outpace to the move with the Shadow Ball farm down. Generally, that's what I like to do in the Zero Shield against Dragonair. Like to go for the Shadow Ball, just to do the most raw damage, and that allows you to take them out. So Quagsire versus Noctowl, not a great lead, not a terrible lead. We can go for Stone Edge here. I got a laggy turn there, which was kind of annoying, but I did get the move through anyway. I'm going to eat this first Sky Attack here. I was just kind of finding that, yeah, they go for a catch. I was just kind of finding that Quagsire, like, I was really looking for those lanterns. I was seeing a ton of lanterns yesterday, and unfortunately I just couldn't find them today. So I wasn't really getting amazing leads. Probably about the best leads I was getting was Dunsparce, which is a pretty good lead, but it's not like, you know, getting a lantern lead. Of course, you don't have as many targets without steel types in the meta. So again, I think this is a Pokemon that if you start seeing lanterns, and if you start seeing a ton of Pokemon that are weak to it, like Lantern and Frostlass are generally like your 2 main targets for this Pokemon. If you start seeing them in the lead quite a lot, it's great. But if you're seeing a ton of Deoxys or Medicham lead, this may not be the best one. We're going to go for a Shadow Ball, which will get this pretty low. But this is still a very tough position. We go for the CMP here on the Mud Bomb. What will the opponent do? Will they shield it up? Most likely yes. And these Mud Bombs, again, I'm not 100% sure of the damage. I feel like it does roughly about 50%. I'm expecting the catch here. The opponent comes in with their Noctowl. However, they're ahead in energy, and the opponent makes a stupid play here, and this pisses me off. They're going to outpace me anyway, but they go for the Sky Attack bait. Doesn't make any sense. That was literally the opponent's lose condition, and that pissed me off so much. To be honest with you, it's like, why are you like... It just annoyed me, honestly. Like, whenever people make bad plays against me, and, you know, it was like giving me a win condition, it annoys me. I go for the Stone Edge straight away. To be honest with you, I was a little bit off track on the Lantern's energy, and I was hoping to get this Mud Bomb. And I sort of knew this was over anyway, like, one Surf's going to KO me. I don't think one Mud Bomb KOs from this range, and that's going to be a good game. I know that, like, an Earthquake barely KOs it from full health, so I was pretty confident that was not going to get the job done, but that's the team, guys. I definitely recommend trying it towards the end of the cup. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, and if you want to see more content from me, check out the cards right here at the end. It'd be very much appreciated. Join us in Discord, and apart from that, guys, I will catch you tomorrow for a brand new video, and have a fantastic rest of your day.